My girlfriend said, "I'm not coming to your marathon. Running is boring and I have better things to do." I've been training for 8 months to run in honor of my late brother. I said, "That's okay." Then I ran the race, crossed the finish line, and was greeted by everyone I loved, except her. When she texted, "Did you win?" And I replied with one photo. Original post. I, 28 male, ran my first marathon 11 days ago. Finished in 4 hours and 22 minutes. Not fast, not competitive. Didn't matter. I ran it for my brother, who died of leukemia 14 months ago at 25. He was a runner, real one, the kind who woke up at 5 a.m. on Saturdays because he liked how the world sounded before everyone else was in it. He ran 3 marathons before he got sick. After his diagnosis, he made me promise I'd run one. I'm not a runner. I was a couch and PlayStation guy. I hadn't run a full mile since high school gym class. But he asked, so I said yes. I trained for 8 months. Not casually, seriously. 5 days a week. I downloaded a plan, joined a running group at my local shop, bought real shoes that cost more than my car payment, $176 for sneakers, which still feels criminal, but my shins stopped screaming so worth it. Lost 23 pounds. Got a blister so bad in month 3 that my sock was pink when I took it off. Kept going. My girlfriend, now ex, and I had been together a little over 2 years. She knew about the marathon from day 1 of training. She knew why I was running. She was there the night I told my family I was going to do it at dinner at my parents' house when my mom cried and my dad put his hand on my shoulder and didn't say anything because he didn't need to. She was there. She saw it. And for the first few months, she was fine. Not supportive exactly, but not hostile. She'd say things like, "Have fun on your run," the way you'd say "have fun" at the dentist. Tolerant. That was the word. She tolerated it. Then the tolerance started rotting. Month 4, she started making comments about my schedule. "You're really going to run on a Saturday morning again? We could be doing brunch." Month 5, she told me I was obsessed and that normal people don't structure their entire life around exercise. Month 6, she said, and this one stuck, "Your brother wouldn't want you to ruin your relationship over a race." She said that. Used my dead brother as leverage to win an argument about Saturday mornings. I didn't blow up. I should have. But I was deep in training, deep in grief, deep in trying to hold everything together. I just said, "Please don't talk about him like that," and went for my run. Month 7, 3 weeks before race day, she escalated. "I'm not coming to the marathon." We were eating dinner. I just finished telling her my parents, my brother's wife, and my 2 best friends were all coming. They made a plan, matching t-shirts with my brother's name and his favorite quote on the back. "The only finish line that matters is the one you're scared of." My mom had been working on the design for weeks. "You're not coming?" "No, I'm not standing outside for 4 hours watching people run. It's boring. I have better things to do. Better things to do than watching her boyfriend cross a finish line for his dead brother. Better things." I looked at her for a long time. Then I said, "That's okay." That's it. That's all I said. Because what else do you say to someone who just told you, in the clearest possible language, exactly where you rank? She looked surprised that I didn't fight about it. Maybe she wanted me to beg. Maybe the whole thing was a power play. Skip the marathon for me. Choose me over this. I don't know. I didn't ask. I just finished my dinner, washed my plate, and went to bed. We didn't talk about it again before race day. She acted completely normal, like the conversation hadn't happened. Kissed me goodbye that morning. Race started at 7 a.m. and said good luck like I was heading to a work meeting. The race was the hardest thing I've ever done. I'm not going to over-romanticize it. Miles 18 through 22 were genuine suffering. My knees felt like they were being chewed on. I wanted to stop at mile 20. Genuinely considered it. Then I thought about my brother at mile 21, sitting in that hospital bed with his legs that used to carry him 26.2 miles, now too weak to walk to the bathroom. And I kept going. I crossed the finish line, and I couldn't see through the tears, but I could hear them. My mom screaming. My dad doing that whistle thing he does with 2 fingers. My brother's wife, my sister-in-law, holding a sign that said, "He's watching." My 2 best friends in those t-shirts, hollering like I'd just won the Super Bowl. They rushed me. Group hug at the finish line. My mom was sobbing. My dad was crying. My dad, who did not cry at his own mother's funeral, was crying. My sister-in-law grabbed my face and said he would be so proud of you, and I lost it completely. Full breakdown. Right there in front of everybody. And it was the best moment of my life. Everyone I loved was there. Everyone. Except her. I didn't think about her until about an hour later, when we were all at a diner my brother used to love, smelling terrible and eating pancakes. My phone buzzed. Text from my girlfriend. Did you win? LOL. Did I win? Like it was a rec league softball game. Did you win? LOL. I didn't respond right away. I sat there with my people, pancake batter on the table, my mom still teary, my buddy wearing a finisher's medal he stole from me as a joke, and I looked at all of them. My friend had his arm around my sister-in-law. My dad was telling the waitress about the race like she'd asked. She hadn't, he didn't care. My mom was taking a picture of my pancakes for the scrapbook. I took a photo. Not posed. Just the table. Everyone mid-laugh, mid-bite, mid-joy. My brother's memorial shirt visible on 3 of them. A copy of his race bib pinned to the back of my dad's chair. He kept it for my brother's last marathon and brought it so he'd have a seat at the table. I sent her that photo. No caption. No explanation. Just a picture. She didn't respond for 4 hours. When she did, it was, "Looks like you had a good time." I typed back. I did. That was Sunday. By Wednesday, I'd broken up with her. I'll update with what happened next, because it was a lot. But the short version is, she did not take it well, and her better things to do turned out to be a lot less better than she thought. Update 1, 6 days later. All right, I owe y'all the rest of this. Thank you for every comment on the original post, especially the runners who share their own stories. And to the person who said, your brother had a seat at the table and she didn't even show up to the building, that hit me right in the chest. So, the breakup. Wednesday evening after the marathon, she came over to my apartment. I'd asked her to. She walked in looking like she expected a normal hang, bag of takeout in one hand, her phone in the other, scrolling something. I got Thai. They were out of the spring rolls, though, so I think we should break up. She set the Thai food on the counter very carefully, like it was made of glass. Looked at me. Did a little laugh. Not a real one, the nervous kind. What? I've been thinking about it since Sunday, and I think we should break up. Because of the marathon thing? Are you serious right now? It's not just a marathon, but the marathon made it clear. Made what clear? That we want different things, and that the things that matter to me don't matter to you. She sat down on my couch, her default position for arguments, always sitting while I stood, always making me feel like the aggressive one, even when I was speaking calmly. I can't believe you're doing this over a race. It wasn't a race. It was for my brother. Your brother is gone. How long are you going to keep? She stopped herself, but not fast enough. I saw where that sentence was going. How long are you going to keep grieving? How long are you going to keep making this about him? How long? Finish that sentence. I didn't mean it like that. How did you mean it? She started crying. And look, I'm not made of stone. Watching someone you've loved for 2 years cry doesn't feel good even when you know you're making the right call. But I'd spent 8 months watching her slowly demote my brother's memory from important to inconvenient, and I was done. I want you to leave. I'll box up your stuff, and you can get it whenever. You're seriously ending 2 years over this. You couldn't stand outside for 4 hours for me, for something that was the most important thing in my life. Yeah, I'm ending it. She left, slammed my door hard enough to rattle the frame. Now here's where the entitlement really begins. Next day, Thursday, I get a call from her best friend. I'd met this woman maybe 6 times. She was always perfectly pleasant to my face, and I always got the sense she was absolutely brutal about me behind my back. Classic. Hey, I heard what happened. I just want to say, I think you're making a huge mistake. Okay. She's been crying all night. She really loves you. She just doesn't express it the way you want her to. She told me watching me run a marathon for my dead brother was boring, and she had better things to do. Pause. A long one. Well, I mean, standing outside for 4 hours, kind of. I'm going to stop you right there. Thanks for calling. Click. Friday. My ex texted me a paragraph. The gist: I was emotionally manipulating her by using my brother's death as a weapon, and she refuses to feel guilty for having boundaries around how she spends her time. Boundaries. She framed skipping the most important day of my life as a boundary. Using therapy language to justify being selfish. I see this a lot online, and it's wild every time. People learning the vocabulary of mental health and using it as a shield for terrible behavior. I didn't respond. Saturday, 1 week after the marathon. This is where it gets really interesting. My ex showed up at my parents' house. Not my apartment. My parents' house. Without telling me, without asking, she drove to my parents' home and knocked on the door. My mom answered. My mom, who was wearing my brother's marathon shirt, by the way, because she wears it around the house now, opened the door and found my ex standing there. According to my mom, the conversation went like this. Hi, I'm so sorry to just show up, but I need to talk to you about your son. My mom, thinking something was wrong with me. Is he okay? He broke up with me, and I think he's making a decision he'll regret. I think he's still grieving and not thinking clearly, and I was hoping you could talk to him. My mom, he's grieving because his brother died. We're all grieving. What are you grieving? Our relationship. I just think if he could see. Did you come to the marathon? No, but then I think he's thinking very clearly. My mom closed the door. Not slammed. Closed. Politely. Devastatingly. She called me right after. Your ex-girlfriend just came to my house to ask me to convince you to take her back. I said no. Do you want me to make you a casserole? My mom processes everything through casseroles. Grief casserole, celebration casserole, breakup casserole. I said yes. But here's the thing. My ex going to my parents' house crossed a line. Not just a personal line. A line that told me she didn't see my family as people with their own grief. She saw them as tools. Levers to pull. My mom, who lost her son 14 months ago, was supposed to redirect her energy from mourning to playing couples counselor for the woman who called her dead son's memorial race boring. The entitlement required to do that is staggering. And it told me everything I needed to know about how my ex saw the people in my life, as supporting characters in her story. I sent her one text that night. Do not contact my family again. This is not a negotiation. She responded, I was just trying to fix things. You're acting like I'm a monster. I didn't respond. There was nothing left to say, or so I thought, because the following week, she pulled something that genuinely made my jaw drop, and my sister-in-law got involved, and that changed everything. Update 2, 13 days later. Final update. I've been sitting on this for a few days because I wanted to make sure everything had settled before I wrote it out. It has. Mostly. So after the parents' house visit, I figured my ex would either cool off or keep pushing. She kept pushing, but she changed targets. She started reaching out to my friends, not my close ones. She wasn't stupid enough to contact my 2 best friends who'd been to the marathon and who she knew were firmly in my corner. No, she went for the peripheral people. The guys I play basketball with on Thursdays. A couple from a group dinner we'd been to together a few months back. People who knew us as a couple, but didn't know the full story. Her angle was smart, I'll give her that. She wasn't trashing me. She was playing the confused, heartbroken girlfriend who just doesn't understand what went wrong. She told people I'd changed after his brother died, and that she'd tried to be supportive, but he pushed her away. She told one person, a guy from my basketball group who she'd met exactly twice, that I broke up with her because she couldn't make it to a running event due to a prior commitment. A prior commitment. She had better things to do. That was the prior commitment. Better things to do. And she reframed it as a scheduling conflict. I found out because my basketball buddy texted me, Hey man, your ex reached out to my wife. Just wanted you to know. She's saying some stuff that doesn't match what you told me. You good? I called him. Gave him the 2-minute version. Dead brother, memorial marathon. She said it was boring, skipped it, I broke up with her. His response, yeah, that's what I figured. She left out all of that. Of course she did. But here's the thing about the peripheral friend strategy. It has a fatal flaw. People talk to each other. Within 3 days, 3 different people had independently reached out to me, saying, your ex contacted me / my partner. And every single one of them asked for my side, heard it, and that was that. Nobody told me I was wrong. Nobody said, you should give her another chance. One guy from basketball said, and I quote, bro, she skipped your dead brother's race, and she's trying to get sympathy? Read the room. The reaching out campaign died fast. But my ex apparently didn't get the message, because she tried one more thing. And this is the one that really set things off. She contacted my sister-in-law, my brother's wife, the woman who lost her husband to leukemia, the woman who stood at that finish line holding a sign that said, "He's watching." My ex sent her a DM on Instagram. I didn't see the message directly, but my sister-in-law called me at 10 p.m. on a Tuesday. She never calls that late, and said, "I need to read you something." The DM was long. The summary: my ex told my sister-in-law that she completely understood the pain of losing someone she does not, and that she thought I was processing grief in an unhealthy way by using the marathon as an emotional crutch, and that she was worried about him and hoped my sister-in-law could talk some sense into him because he respects you. She told the widow of the man the marathon was honoring that the marathon was an emotional crutch. She told the woman who made the memorial shirts that honoring her dead husband was unhealthy. My sister-in-law is the calmest person I know. She's a pediatric nurse. She deals with crisis every day. She does not rattle easily. But when she read me that message, her voice was shaking. Not from sadness, from anger. "What do you want me to do?" she asked. "Whatever you want. She's not my responsibility anymore." My sister-in-law wrote back one message. I asked her later what it said. She told me, "My husband died 14 months ago. He ran 3 marathons. He asked his brother to run one for him when he knew he never would again. His brother trained for 8 months, changed his entire life, and crossed that finish line carrying my husband's memory. I was there. His parents were there. His friends were there. You weren't. Not because you couldn't be, because you chose not to be. And now you're messaging me, his widow, to tell me that honoring him was unhealthy? Do not contact this family again. We're done with you." My sister-in-law is 5'3", and she just delivered the most devastating paragraph I've ever read. I told her she should be a lawyer. She said she'd rather keep saving babies, but appreciated the compliment. My ex never responded, didn't message my sister-in-law again, didn't contact my parents again, didn't reach out to any more peripheral friends. She went quiet, and that's when the real consequence hit. Not from anything I did, but from what she'd done to herself. See, the thing about going to someone's grieving family to try to win a breakup argument is that it follows you. The people she contacted talked. My basketball buddy's wife told her book club. The couple from a group dinner told their friends. My sister-in-law, who is connected to a whole network of people from my brother's life, his running community, his co-workers, his friends, she didn't blast my ex publicly, but she didn't hide what happened either. When people asked her how I was doing, she told them the truth. All of it. Within 2 weeks, my ex's version of events, the "he pushed me away, I had a prior commitment" version, was dead. Everyone who mattered knew the real story. Not because I ran a smear campaign, because she inserted herself into spaces full of people who loved my brother and who were there when she wasn't. And those people compared notes. She lost mutual acquaintances. Not because they chose sides in a breakup. People do that all the time, and it's normal. She lost them because she went to a dead man's family and called his memorial unhealthy. That's not a side situation. That's a character reveal. Last I heard, from my basketball buddy, who somehow stays informed about everything, she told her own friends that my family ganged up on her and that she was the victim of grief weaponization. She's apparently dating someone new already. I genuinely hope she's happy. I also genuinely hope she never tells that guy's family that something he cares about is boring. As for me, I'm okay. Some days are better than others. The marathon high has faded into something quieter. Not sadness, just settling. I ran a 10K last weekend. Not for any reason. Just because I could. Because 8 months ago, I couldn't run a mile, and now I can run 6 without stopping. And that's something my brother gave me, even though he's not here. My finisher's medal hangs on a hook by my front door. Right next to my brother's from his last race. My sister-in-law gave it to me the day after the marathon. She said he wanted to have it. Every morning I grab my keys, and I see them side by side. It says 2022. Mine says 2025. 3 years apart, but close. My mom still makes casseroles. My dad started running, just short ones. He's 61 with a bad hip, but he goes out 3 mornings a week. He doesn't talk about why. He doesn't need to. My sister-in-law and I are closer than we've ever been. She came over last Sunday, and we watched old videos of my brother at his races, and she laughed so hard She choked on her wine when we found one where he tripped at mile 2 and ate dirt in front of a crowd. He would have loved that we laughed at that. He was always the funniest person in the room, even when he was the one falling. My ex wanted me to choose her over this. Over the training, the grief, the people, the promise. She wanted the version of me that existed before my brother died. The couch guy, the PlayStation guy, the guy who didn't wake up early on Saturdays. But that guy is gone. He left somewhere around mile 21 a marathon when he was crying and running and refusing to stop. I don't miss her. I miss who I thought she was sometimes, but that person was always conditional. She was supportive as long as it was convenient, present as long as it was comfortable, loving as long as it didn't require standing outside for 4 hours on a Sunday. And I needed someone who'd stand. That's the whole story. I'm logging off this account. Got a training plan to look at. My sister-in-law signed up for a half marathon in the spring and asked me to run it with her. We're going to wear the shirts. My brother asked me to run one. I'm going to keep running. Thanks for everything, Reddit. Go call someone you love. Tell them you'll be there. Then actually show up.